As usual, I'm your favorite Uncle Taps.
Dream Chaser.
Mamona. Alipo. Right, today, Dream Chaser. Today, I'm telling you the inclusive education.
Okay.
Because, remember we talked about education, but I'm going to tell in brief last time. The GT, we cannot put every child with a disability in a special school. Let's look at the possibility of what? Ensuring that one with disabilities can also benefit from what? From the ordinary school system, doing inclusive education.
Yeah,
so today we need to talk about inclusive education.
All right.
So I think basically, let's start by defining, from your point of view, what is inclusive education?
I think inclusive education is an education system to include everyone, whether you are disabled or you are not disabled. Haina kusarura kuti wewe kwako ndeuko kana kuti sisi kwedu ndeuko. Ingota ichi inclusive. Munhu wese.
So black, white, able, disabled, male, female, mese momo. It's like a gango.
Exactly. It's that one ichocho.
Chinwan.
Hakuna kuti mumwe ane syllabus rawo rakadai ayo. One syllabus.
Konota pana kuti ane chikoro chawo ichi chakadai.
Ayo hakuna. Hakuna zvakadai.
Right. That's very interesting. Now looking at inclusive education, or rather looking at education for children, not only those with disabilities, but in general, for school to be effective, what are the things that are necessary? Kuti mwana aenda kuchikoro nzveshuwa benefit.
Alright.
Not just looking at disability per se, but in general, what are we looking at? Kuti kunzi mwana uyu adzidza zviri effective.
Alright.
Because there are schools that might be schools for children who are not disabled, but those kids are not benefiting in terms of education. Because, for example, maybe hakuna mabhuku.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Inyaya yekuti panenge pachida chikoro chekuti chine ma-resources ese ari aligned to the education.
Alright.
Handiti. Pane syllabus rekuti kana mwana ari grade 1 handiti ari kutarisirwa kuti adzidze izvi zviri pasyllabus zvakaapprova kuministry of education. Kuti mwana wese ari grade 1 by this time anofanira kunga kuziva zvakadai. Pane ma-resources akwana, mabooks ese and everything, nematicha acho aripo. Handiti tichazozwa kuti kufambirana senyika yese. Exactly. Whether uri kumatebeleland, whether uri kupi. Exactly.
So the resources should be distributed equally throughout the nation.
Exactly.
Right. Now looking at disability, mwana ane disability kuti adzidza zviri effective, mataura nyaya yema-resources. But these resources, I'm sure that they differ according to need nemwana. For example, mwana anofamba newheelchair, zvaanonida kuti adzidze zviri effective zvasiyana nemwana ane visual impairment. I mean, ipapo, can you maybe also highlight what is the difference really in terms of resources? Right. What is it that is needed?
All right. Pakutaisa pama-resources eda tinonida kune vana especially vari disabled. Mwana anotanga amboaseswa. Timbomona kuti mwana anokwanisa kunyora here. Handiti. Kana asingakwanisi kunyora, there's another option yekuti oshandisa kana computer. Handiti. Tapedza ipapo. Tine mwana ari blind. Pachikoro pana ticha anogona braille. Ma-braille machines acho ari pere pachikoro ipapo. Epachikoro. Ekuti tikwanise kupa mwana uyu. Chi-braille machine yake. Tapedza ipapo handiti. Totosa mwana ari deaf. Handiti. Hearing impaired. Handiti. Totasa kuti mwana uyu pana sign language interpreter.
Pachikoro ipapo.
Exactly. Ari kwanisa kuinterpreta mwana uyu kuti ndo zviri kutaurwa pasyllabus remuno muZimbabwe. Kuti ABCD zvakadai achimuinterpreta zvese tichifambirana senyika kutoti no, iwe waendawo kuchikoro uri disabled neasiri disabled muri kutoziva masyllabus akatofanana. Kana wanga ari grade 1 muri kutoziva zvese kutoti no, ini ndiri kutozivawo nekuti pachikoro pangu pana sign language interpreter. Saka ndo zvinhu zvinofanira kutanga zvaita se zvatariswa.
Or maybe a sign language specialist teacher.
Exactly. Anenge achingofocusa nemwana kusvika apedza kusvika grade 7. Handiti.
or O level, A level,
exactly. Exactly. Tichidaro tichizoadvance, tichidaro tichizotsvaga mumwe futi up to university.
I agree with you, Shumba. Kuti mwana wese education yake, especially one with disabilities, the resources have to be meeting the need yemwana.
Exactly.
For example, atingati chikoro ichi chine braille textbook and mwana anofamba neuchi.
As make sense.
So that means kuti each and every child enrolled in a school that is called the normal school, in quotations. Panofanwa tanga paitwa chi? An assessment.
Exactly.
Needs-based assessment with this child could add this is really effective pachikoro ichi. Anofanirwa kuwana ma-resource akati.
That's true.
Right. Apart from that, I don't know, are you aware about this service in Zimbabwe? There's a section, there's a department actually in the Ministry of Education, the school psychological services.
All right.
I don't know if you were aware of it. Now, school psychological services, viewers, is a place where you can go with your child and a disability if you intend to enroll them in school. That place, they then assess mwana uyu based on my capabilities ake kuti mwana uyu nezvaanokwanisa kuita izvi. What is the best school for him or her?
All right.
So that way the ministry has created a situation whereby wana hawangoite sei, hawangoenrollwe muchikoro random.
Exactly.
It's based on what a child is able to do and what the child needs.
Okay.
Of course, we have children with disabilities anenge ari severe. Ndo vanenge vachizonida zvikoro zvirichi special schools like ana St. Giles and Adaniko and the like. Then there are those vanenge vane mental disabilities. Ndo vanenge vachinidwa kuenda zvikoro zvakaita sana St. Catherine's.
That's true.
Then there are others wekuti unyasoona kuti uyu anofamba neuche but mafambiro ake anoita neuche tikangomuwanira chikoro chinenge chine marembo anotokwanisa kuita sei
to participate kuchikoro.
Yes. So I think that's one thing that is done by school psychological services that we need to appreciate.
All right.
Kuti Second Republic iri kuita sei iri kumira panyaya idzodzo. They are trying to create a situation that children with disabilities can also benefit effectively in what? Through education.
All right. Wonderful.
Anyway, going back to nyaya dzatachitaura dzeeducation. Amene kuti muri kuiona sei, is education only academic in nature?
No. Education inosanganisirawo even ma-sports.
All right.
Even ma-clubs. Kuparticipate kunoichita vana. Kune mwana wekuti ane chipo mubhora. Ndo pati kuzoona kama Warriors achitamba kuAFCON, World Cup. Ndo vanhu vanozomirirawo nyika ndizvo. It's through education. Because vakatomuona kuti mwana uyu ane talent rebhora.
And then they nurtured that talent.
Exactly.
Even
so good disability of it. Kuna mwana good at wheelchair basketball.
All right.
When I used to play wheelchair basketball.
Look at Nyasha Marakurwa. Remember that guy?
Exactly.
Shout out to you, Nyasha Marakurwa. I hope you are watching.
Exactly.
You know, he was identified as being someone who is good in sport.
You see?
He was, of course, he's educated.
It's through education.
He's got a degree now, but he's also doing sports in Germany.
Exactly. Which is something good. Chakabva mu education system.
Which also reminds me about the time I was in high school. You know, there's a friend of mine on that and this guy angane disability. But what amazed me about him is I focus on chess.
All right.
CP, he's still alive, he's kicking, he's doing his thing here in Harare.
All right.
So this guy has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
Despite his challenges, cerebral palsy, do you know what? He was very good in chess.
Wow.
Wow. To the extent that akapiwa an award. Pachikoro.
Chess.
Chess. Yes, of course there were others, but he was one of the few that was recognized as being a chess master.
Yeah. All right.
Why? Because they were able to notice good talent. Then they nurtured that talent.
All right.
Yes. So what am I saying? I think you and I were agreeing kuti education must also be non-academic.
Exactly.
Because one of my disabilities, for example, Anachipo Mchebo.
Exactly.
They are singers.
Exactly.
But how did they notice that? How do people notice that they can sing?
Animal.
Tomorrow.
Kumakwaya. She was 2 days ago to hear choir.
And
I was like, I cannot true choir competition. Kuna chipo.
Yes.
That's one is I quit. After the through singing you.
Unana great men.
Exactly.
Through that education system.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, education should be multifaceted.
That's true.
Let's not just focus on academics.
That's true.
Now, looking at Zimbabwe, since our main focus on this podcast is talking about the Zimbabwean education system, what can be done muzvikoro kuti zvinyatsoite accessible? Of course, tataura my examples edu aya. But we also need to look at my students. You know, you might have a school with a ramp. We might have school with teachers, but my fellow student doesn't accept me because I'm different from him or her.
Exactly.
I have a disability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true.
Does that not cause bullying or stigmatization to an extent?
Yeah. That's true. It's not a consideration because you find out kuti takada kutasa mwana paanopinda kuchikoro. Mumwe mwana anenge achishamisika kuti ko yakasiyana neni pakuita sei. Utomona wanga asiri mwana. Bullying itoriko schools just because of vanhu anenge achitoti no, I'm different from this person. Uyu anofamba newheelchair sei. Uyu anofamba neweight sei. Ari blind sei handiti. Uyu anotaura nemaoko sei.
Yes.
Anoona.
Why is this one different?
Exactly. Saka zvandikuedza kutaura ndezvekuti ndikuona kunge zvinotobatsira kuti pave inclusive education because mwana ari grade 1 akatodzidza nemunhu ari blind bva achiri mudiki achinonzwa no makangofanana by the time anoenda kana kusekondary anoziva kuti no kutone vanhu vakatodaro akutoziva about maresources avanonidha nezvinhu zvavanotonidhawo achitoti no achitobatsira outside the society kuti no mucommunity kuti ngativabatsira vanhu vakadai vanotoda zvakadai nezvakadai vangori vanhu vakangofanana nesu. You find out with that person haazoshamisike mangwana even kwakati kwafunction munhu ari blind akauya kana kuti ari disabled
even working with that munhu ane disability they will be able to do that.
Exactly.
So in other words, you are saying if we manage to catch them young, we create allies, we create a society that is more tolerant and more inclusive.
Exactly.
That understands disability more.
That's true.
All right. Pause ipapo shuma. Inini ndandino another mind set or another thought rather. Yekuti curriculum yedu. How effective is it in terms of teaching about disability? You know, back in primary school, I remember I did a subject called social studies.
All right.
Social studies, do they really talk about disability? You know? Because I feel disability studies should be a subject that should be taught from ECD up to university level.
That's true.
We should learn to tolerate each other.
That's true.
We should learn to accept each other.
That's true.
I'll give you an example of gender studies. In Padandugu University, Shumba, it was agreed kuti kana usina kupasa gender, whether uri kuita medicine, uri kuita law, uri kuita psychology, uri kuita engineering, if you don't pass gender studies, haupiwe certificate rako redegree. Because unenge usina kupedza chi.
All right. All right.
Can we not do the same for disability studies?
I think we have to. Because why ndikudaro? Vanhu vari kurarama nesu.
Ndizvo.
Handiti. Munyika ino yatiri. Every day of our life. Handiti. Saka they are supposed to know about disability.
Yes.
So I think it's a good idea, that one. Because no one pakubatsirikana, iwo anobatsirikana wakuziva kuti no. Tingori vanhu vakangofananawo nevamwe. Handimaona. Saka tinotanga kuchinja, zvinofana kutangira pa mentality yedu isusu.
Yes.
Neku accept.
Ndizvo.
Handimaona. Takangodaro chete tapedza.
Of course, education system yedu ikangotanga kuita that education about disability studies. Mindset yewanhu obvious. Notanga kuita sei?
Change.
I'll give you an example about gender studies. 10-20 years ago, it was not accepted kuti madzimai anoendawo kubasa wachiwanawo same salary nevachi But things have changed now.
Exactly.
Women are actually getting better jobs than men in some cases.
That's true.
Because we have realized that men and women actually are equal.
That's true.
Able-bodied people and disabled people are also what?
The same.
They're also equal.
Exactly.
But opportunities should also be created for persons with disabilities to be educated. That's so that they can also be empowered.
Exactly.
Remember, we are talking about empowerment. And the best way to empower people, one of the best ways to empower people is through education. Yes. I mean, no, say, do you have anything that you'd want to add to this discussion?
No. Because the inclusivity in my schools or in the every day of our life, things are changing bit by bit.
And we appreciate that.
Exactly. Because I remember at one point ndakambotsvaga nzvimbo which the other school inenge inokomitana na Prince Edward chikoro inonzi chikwe Churchill. Exactly. Do you know pandakanotsvaga nzvimbo kuChurchill, mai vangu vaitozonza no problem nzvimbo iripo tinomisa ku special school, special class kan. And I was shocked. Why? Adi maona. Vangu vatone mentality kungoti as long as stands what ane disability. Special class. Which means nenjere dzako dzakada se dzakatodhaka. Kana kuti mentally utori ne mentally challenged person. Urufana ungo utori special class,
which is not it.
Exactly. Ofichona ntori munhu akatopasa grade 7 yake ada kuenda ku secondary school ndi continue ma studies am, but avana kustaisa izvozvo. But nowadays I'm happy ngone zvamataura zve kuti when you start to go ne assessment yekuma psychologist uno assess ko unooneka kuti no munhu ane right yekuto participate mu class mune vamwe. Understand? Fight inclusion in the education system. So I'm happy about that.
Indeed. These are things that we should celebrate.
Exactly.
That being said, I'm your favorite uncle, Uncle Taps. I'm with the Dream Chaser. We hope we've learned one or two things about inclusive education from a Zimbabwean perspective. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.